students, welcome to the revision session of Unit 2 from Web Technology. So, unit name is Client Side Technology. In first unit, we have seen the web development process and some tools that are front-end tools, and we have revised all the things from Unit 1. So, this is Unit 2 that we are going to revise. So, in that we are going to see the JavaScript, data object model, jQuery, okay, and parts of all these things. Okay, so we'll start first with the JavaScript, and in that first point it's overview of JavaScript. So what a JavaScript is? JavaScript is an open source, probably the most popular client-side scripting language, which is supported by the browsers. So it is a lightweight interpreted programming language with the object-oriented capabilities, and that allows you to build interactivity into otherwise static HTML pages. So using JavaScript in an HTML, it might be embedded or external. Then how the data types are used, control structure, arrays, functions, objects, scopes, all these things are in JavaScript that we are going to see as JavaScript thing. So JavaScript is one of the three languages all web developers must learn. Okay, so the web developer is mostly using JavaScript for its language, plus at the start it is a very efficient language to start your web designing. So one, HTML to define the content of web pages, CSS to specify the layout of web pages, and 3, JavaScript to program the behavior of web pages. So you can see any web developer must focus on these three languages. Okay, so HTML will define the content of web pages, what content should be entered into web page, and uh, how much percent the content should be kept. All these things will contained in HTML. Then CSS, that will specify the layout of the web pages, so that will focus on the presentation of your web page. And the most important, JavaScript, it will program the behavior of web pages. So JavaScript is a very powerful client-side scripting language, and it is a dynamic computer programming language. Okay, so it is a lightweight interpreted programming language, again complementary to and integrated with Java, and again complementary to and integrated with HTML as well. It is an open and cross-platform. So when the user submits the form, the only and only if all the entries are valid, they would be submitted to the web server. So JavaScript can be used to trap user-initiated events such as button clicks, link navigation, and other actions that the user explicitly or implicitly initiates. So this is about the overview of JavaScripting, and the JavaScript is a front-end scripting language developed by Netscape for dynamic content. In last session we have seen front-end tools, and in this session we are overviewing the front-end language. Okay, and the JavaScript is a front-end scripting language that was developed by Netscape for dynamic content. As told, it is lightweight but with limited capabilities, and it can be used as object-oriented language. Then it is the very efficient client-side technology. It can be embedded in your HTML page, and it can be interpreted by the web browser. So things why this JavaScript is used mostly, it is simple and flexible and powerful to manipulate the data object model. So along with this, it is having the advantages like it is very good at implementing the form validations, plus how to react with user actions, for example handling keys. Okay. And uh, it will give an immediate feedback to visitors. They don't have to wait for a page reload to see if they have forgotten to enter something. Okay. If they are filling form and they have forgotten to write any column, it will promptly tell the user that you have missed this field to fill. Okay. So that immediate feedback can be accessed by the visitor. Then changing an image on moving mouse over it can be the best thing that JavaScript we can do, because the increased interactivity also comes with it. Okay. For example, you can create interfaces that react with the user over them, and with a mouse, or activates them via keyboard. Okay. So by only the reaction when the user hovers over the image or any link, it will activate them via the keyboard or any directly. So this thing also can be achieved by JavaScript, plus the sections of any page appearing or disappearing, so that the interface can be managed. And you can use that JavaScript to include such items as drag and drop components and sliders to give that rich interface to site visitors. So it will also perform the complex calculations, plus it is best at content loading and changing them dynamically. And the custom HTML controls are handled with great support from JavaScript. For example, scrollable table. Okay, so that comes under custom HTML controls, and implementing the Ajax functionality. So all these things make JavaScript a very popular and flexible language that can be used in greater way with your web development. So next, what can JavaScript do? It can handle the events, it can also read and write the HTML elements, it can validate the form data. Then for accessing and modifying any browser cookies, you can use this JavaScript. It can also detect the user's browser and operating system. Plus uh, it is used mostly as a object oriented language and for handling exceptions. And best thing, it can perform asynchronous server calls, that is Ajax. So all these things can be done by JavaScript. Okay. So question can be asked, what JavaScript can do, plus the advantages of JavaScript for 4 marks. Next question. Okay. So just revise all those points once you are preparing for exam. And next we will see the syntax for save. So it can be implemented using the script tag in HTML tags. Okay. So script tag, that is the pair tag. So pair tag means it is having open and closing tag. So with the script tag, within the head tags you can write your script. For example, here you can see script language equals to JavaScript and type equals to text or JavaScript. So this is simple syntax to add your script code. And any statements or any code block you can write between the opening and closing script tags. So this is the simplest syntax. Then including it in HTML, we can see here in HTML we have inserted in the body block the JavaScript syntax code, that is script language is JavaScript, and type is set to text or JavaScript. And then we can just write that document dot write for hello world. So this will be your simplest program of hello world using JavaScript in HTML, and the line that is shown with the double slash, that is the comment line. Okay, so after closing that script body and HTML text, your script is ready and it will output as hello world. Then talking about the JavaScript syntax, it is like similar to C hash and Java. We have already gone through C sharp and Java things in last year actually. Uh, so there are many things like operators, variables, conditional statements, loops, arrays, and associative arrays. Okay, that are same as your C sharp and Java for JavaScript as well. Plus the functions that can return value, function variables like C sharp delegates. Okay. So all these things are similar in all these three languages, C sharp, Java, and JavaScript. So you need not to worry about the things that will change in HTML. Only the thing to keep in mind is you strictly have to insert that script tag for inserting JavaScript in HTML. Okay, for embedding or intermediating. Then how to enable JavaScript in browsers. 4 marks question can be asked in your university exam. So just listen this thing carefully. So JavaScript in Firefox, if you want to enable, then just open the new tab and type about config in address bar. Then you will find the warning dialog and select I will be careful, I promise. Okay, the dialog box will be having one note. Read that note carefully and just click on I will be careful, I promise. Then you will find a list of configure options in the browser, and in search bar type that JavaScript enabled. So there will you will find the option to enable or disable JavaScript by just right clicking on the value of that option, then select toggle. So this thing can enable your JavaScript in browser. Then the JavaScript editor and extension. So for editor and extension, we'll see we need to use notepad to write the code. We will save the document or the code with a .html extension if embedded JavaScript, and if it is external JavaScript, then we'll save that document with .js extension and run the code in browser. So two things: if it is embedded .html, if it is external JS, save the file with .js extension and placing it in HTML file. We'll see this code. So there is flexibility given to include JavaScript code anywhere in HTML document. It is not like you have to insert it only at the head section or only in the body section. You can insert it at any place in the HTML document. Plus, however, the most preferred ways to include the JavaScript in an HTML file are as follows, like script in head section, in body section, third body and head sections, and fourth is as external file and then include in head section. So we'll see one by one how these JavaScript are included into all these sections. So first is how to include it in head section. So for head section, we have already seen that hello world example. That was the example of this head section including included with JavaScript. Okay, so in head section, after declaring head tag, we have started the script type equals to text or JavaScript, and we have used that function say hello and alert as hello world. So it is used in head section, you can see, and in body part we have given that input type equals to button, means we have provided button to type, okay, sorry, to get the output. So input type equals to button, and on click say hello, that that value will be say hello, okay. So this code will produce the output like say hello, and we can see in the block as holding on button, okay. So the script added here is in head section. Then same code, like if you want to insert it in the body section, we will start that HTML and head section. So in head section we haven't included anything, we just then the script type we have included in body section. So body section you can see the script type equals to text JavaScript, and document type is hello world. So this is the web page body as paragraph point we have mentioned, and this code will produce the result as hello world. This is web page body, okay. So the output or the pattern is same, just we have included it in body section. So while writing examples or while answering question in your exam, you need to write examples as well, okay. I mean this code block as well. It might be 4 5 6 lines code, but it will impact on your answer and you will get good marks, okay. So focus on answers with focusing on example as well. So third part is body and head section, including JavaScript in body and head section. So at both the place we are including same. So here you can see in head section I have included that script type equals to text or JavaScript, and the function is labeled as function say hello and hello world, okay. So after that script is ended, and head section is closed there only. So again in body section we have started the script again with a script type text or JavaScript and document type hello world, okay. So in that, after closing script we have also added button, and on click say hello, the value say hello will be shown to the user. So this code will produce the following result, like first it will output the thing from head section, that is hello world, and in body sections hello world it will be generated after clicking on say hello. So after clicking on that say hello button you will get the output again as hello world. Then the fourth type is JavaScript in external file. So in that you can we have also seen the how that external file can be included in HTML script. So firstly we have created some file with a .js extension. As told before, if the external file is there, you have to save that notepad document with .js extension, and others you can save as .html. So three types we have seen till now, like JavaScript including in head section, body section, and third as head and body section. So all these three types can be saved document as .html extension, but here the external file, as external file you have to save your document with .js extension. So here you can see in head section we are writing that script code, and here we have defined script type equals to text or JavaScript, plus the new attribute is added as source with value filename.js. So here file name is your new program or the file that you have saved externally. It is not included in this script only. You have created file externally and now you are calling it or providing that source in this HTML script. Okay, so the external file name.js is given here. Okay, so it is holding function hello, say hello, and the alert as hello world. Okay, so it will output as the hello world. Okay, and the first script.html we have created here Java's first script. Okay, so in the body section we have included JavaScript and alert given as hello JavaScript. So you can see the output is as alert symbol and hello JavaScript. Yes. So another small example, like including text with document.write JavaScript rules. Okay, so we can see the output as JavaScript rules. Okay, then using JavaScript code. So how to use that code? Now we have just seen that syntax included in all these sections, like head section, body section, including in both body and head plus external file. Okay, so now how to use the particular JavaScript code, that we will see. So the JavaScript code can be placed in script tag in the head, and script tag in the body is not recommended here. Like the external files linked via script tag the head, and files usually have that .js extension are highly recommended. The .js files get cached by the browser. So like script source equals to scripts.js, for example we are seeing. Okay, so script source we have provided one file .js and type text or JavaScript. So code that will be placed here will not be executed because we have provided source file to execute the code. Then when the JavaScript is executed, so JavaScript code is executed during the page loading or when the browser fires an event. Okay. And all these statements are executed at page loading. Some statements have just defined functions that can be called later, and function calls or code can be attached as event handlers via tag attributes. So when the event is fired by the browser, the JavaScript is executed. Okay. So like example we can see here, we have included that image and provided source equals to logo.gif, that is gif image it is, and on click alert click, and so after clicking the image will be displayed. That means after clicking the JavaScript behind it will be executed and it will show you the image. Then calling a JavaScript function from event handler. So with the event handler, how the JavaScript function can be called, that thing we will see. Like here we have written one example for event handler, and in head section we have included script type, that is text or JavaScript, function test message, and alert as message, and close that script tag, head tag, and in body we have used one image. Okay, that is logo.gif, and on click test clicked, the body section is closed and HTML tag also closed. So image on click HTML we have created this file, and after clicking on that on that logo, that is the logo you can see in the output, that is click me, After clicking on that logo, you will get the message as clicked. Okay, that you can see we have written here. Okay, so whatever message is provided or we want to display, that will be provided here. Then using external script files, like means as you begin to work more extensively with JavaScript, you will likely find that there are cases where you are reusing identical JavaScript code on the multiple pages of site. So you are not restricted to maintain the identical code in multiple HTML files, but the script tag provides a mechanism to allow you to store JavaScript in external file and then include it into your HTML file, so that the code lines will be minimum, plus you will be having the direct access, because you are using the same code again and again, so there will not be need to write that code again and again. Okay, so here's an example to show how you can include an external JavaScript file in your HTML code using the script tag and that source attribute. So using that external script file, like HTML and head section we have started, and script we have added in the head section only. So script source we have provided as sample.js. So sample.js is external JavaScript file, and type as text or JavaScript. And that script is ended here. Head section is ended. In body section we have provided a button, and on click that button, the sample is given value, and value equals to call JavaScript function from sample.js. So you can see the output, and the as a message from web page, hello from sample.js. Okay, that we have written as external JavaScript file function sample, and alert hello from sample.js. Okay, so that will be shown and on click. Okay, so now we will see what are the data types that are used in JavaScript. So again, 4 or 5 marks question can be asked in university exam, like explain various data types in JavaScript, or the that can be 4 marks question, or different data types available in JavaScript, or what are the different data types available in JavaScript, and explain with correct syntax of declaration of it. So this can be 5 marks question. Here you need to give correct declaration also for each data type. So we'll just revise all these things, like data types basically specify what kind of data can be stored and manipulated within a program. So JavaScript includes primitive and non-primitive data types, and that primitive data types can hold only one value at a time, whereas non-primitive data types can hold collections of values and more complex entities as well. So primitive data types include string, number, boolean, null, undefined. Okay, and if you are talking about non-primitive data types, so object, date, array, these are non-primitive. That means they hold collection of values and more complex entities as well. Okay. So the if we are talking about JavaScript simple data types, like if like a number related, then we have like numbers in that integer and floating point, and for boolean true or false. So string type is and the string of characters. So how to define it, like here we have created variable my name equals to, you can use both single or double quotes for strings. Okay, you can use any quote for defining or declaring the strings of characters as data types in JavaScript. Then arrays. So arrays also with you can write as a variable my array, and you can provide that values in it. Here in example you can see in index box we have given numbers like 1, 5.3. Okay, so integer also we have given, pointer we have, floating point we have used, and third is string, so that is given in double quotes. Okay, so you can write in double quote or single quote in your JavaScript. Then associative arrays or a hash table, so that can be written as like A with the value 2, B with value 3, C with the text. Okay, so all these things can be written in efficient way in JavaScript. Okay, so every variable can be considered as object. So everything is object in JavaScript. Okay, any variable can be object in JavaScript. So for example, strings and arrays have member functions, like we have created one file objects.html here, and we have created one variable test equals to some string and alert test of 7. Okay, then it uh, it shows the letter R, like alert test dot char at 5. Okay, so it will show the character at place 5. Okay, and for showing that later uh, we are using that alert types, like please divide this example carefully. So we have first given test or the string as some string, and we have provided that alert as test of 7. So that test of 7 will show that letter R because it is at the position 7. Then alert test dot char at 5. So it will show the letter S. You can see the types I am using for calling that variable, like alert I have used test of 7 I have used in the first, then alert test dot char at I have used in the second line. Okay, but they all are doing the same job. Then alert in double quotes I have used test dot char at of 1, that will show the letter E. Then alert test dot substring 1 comma 3, so it will show E. Yes. Okay, so accordingly the example is given. Okay, so now you can see the everything is object in JavaScript. The test is variable, so but with test you are calling the characters or the substrings in the program. So you can see it is everything present in that JavaScript can be played as object in variable. Then string operations, the operator joins strings, like for joining two strings we will use string 1 plus string 2. So here in example we can see we have used string 1 as a fat and string 2 as cat. So alert as a string 1 plus string 2 will be produce output as fat cats. Then what is 9 plus 9? That alert will be 9 plus 9. Here we are concatenating the strings, okay, or joining the strings. So the output will be 99, but you can see I have written it in double quotes or simply without quote, then also it is fine. Then converting string to number, so alter parseInt in double quotes 9 to 9, so it will parse as output 18. Okay, then the next point is arrays operations and properties. So declaring new empty array, like declaring array is also easiest in JavaScript. So if you want to declare any empty array, you have to use that variable r, where r equals to new array empty. You haven't given any elements here. If you want to declare an array holding few elements, like you have to define where r equals to 1 2 3 4 5 or anything. Okay, then for appending an element or getting the last element, you need to use r dot push of 3. So where element equals to r dot pop. So what it will do, it will append an element. Okay, that means you are using it push. So you have learnt already in stack and queue, like the push and pop operations. That push is for placing that particular value at the stack, and pop will remove that element, right? So this add dot push, what it will do, it will push that particular value at the place 3, and where element equals to add dot pop, that means it will pop the element from that row. Then for reading the number of elements, you can use array length function, that is add dot length, and for finding elements index in the array, you need to use add dot index of 1. So all these things we have seen with example while in class. So just revise that notes as well. And next point is standard pop-up boxes in JavaScript. So alert box with text and OK button. So at that time you put just a message shown in the dialog box, like alert some text here. If you want to display the confirmation box, you need to write that OK button and cancel button as well, right? So if you are asking a question, for example, are you sure you want to exit? So there will be two options present, yes or no. Okay, so this is the confirmation box. Third, prompt box. So it contains the text and input field with default value. For example, prompt enter amount, and that prompt value will be 10. Okay, so it will prompt as asking for input. Then the JavaScript variables. So you can just use that var, and for calling the variable, and you can just go on defining the variables. For example, here you can see var name equals to Ali, var money, and money equals to price given 2000.50. So this is the JavaScript variable example. Okay, so it can be string, it can hold string or number as well. Okay, so money, you have defined the variable money, and money value, that is 2000.50, is also defined with money variable. Then the sum of numbers. So sum of numbers example with JavaScript we will see for revision. Okay, so we can say that we have added the script in head section, and we have used that value 1 equals to parseInt document dot main form dot textbox dot value equals to and value 2 equals to parseInt same document dot main form dot textbox 2 dot value. We have taken two values, value 1 and value 2, and sum equals to value 1 plus value 2. So the document dot main form dot text box sum, and value equals to sum, and the script is ended here. So for sum of numbers, the example is continued here. you can see in the body section the form name is given main form, and the input type equals to text, and name as text box 1. Again we have used second text box, okay, and type as text, and name as text box 2. So two values we are taking, and that we are taking in text boxes. So then input type button, and value process on click, JavaScript, calc, sum key. So all this code you can see in the output, like in the behind of that text box you can see there are two numbers like 1 and 2, and calculate sum. There is button for calculating the sum, that calc sum, this button is shown here, and the two numbers, that text box 1 and 2, you can see here, okay. And after giving input, you will click on this calculate button, and then the on clicking that you will get the new message box, that is message from web page, and sum will be 3, okay. So this will be your simple JavaScript example. Then JavaScript prompt example, we have seen just now prompt box, okay. And so that prompt box will give you the prompt, will prompt you for some message, like here you can see enter the price 10.00, and if you have not given it in correct way, it will alert you as price plus VAT equals to plus price into 1.2, okay. So here script prompt, after okay, enter the price, if you are entering the value 10, it will prompt the message as price plus VAT equals to 12, okay. So this is about your prompt example. Next, the operators that are used in JavaScript. Again, as same in Java and C#, the operators are also same in JavaScript as well, okay. Like arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical or relational, assignment, conditional or ternary operators. So that are also same with all these languages, and you can see in the examples like conditional statement, how to use it in the statements. We will just see how they are used. For example, we have given unit price equals to 1.30, and if quantity is greater than 100, unit price will be 1.20, okay. So this is the simplest way to include your code or conditional statement in your block of code or the program. So simply that symbols like less than, greater than, and that equals to that greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, equal, not equal, okay. So all these things are given. Then switch statement. So switch statement, we know that we use with the cases and some default case, okay. So if there are more things to do, like do something, break, that will be case A. Do something else, break, like that will be for case 3.10, like another code break, default, and something completely different, that will be things, okay. So you will just start your case with a switch variable, switch statement, and in that you will provide some variable, okay. So this is the simple syntax how to include it in switch. Then as example we will see like that things we have already done, that HTML body and script added. Then the case A, as this is the switch block. Okay, example, and we have defined in the script like grade equals to a, that is variable, and document dot write we have used in entering switch block. Okay, so it is just for user understanding. We have entered that statement, and case a equals to case a dot colon, you have to write document dot write is good job and break the line, and break statement. Then case b, document dot write pretty good and break the case. Document dot write for case c is past and break. uh, Similarly we have defined for d and f also, not so good and failed. Okay, and default, that is final case, or after everything in the covered in the cases, the default thing is there, like unknown grade and break the line. And after that you can see the document dot write as exiting switch block. Okay, after getting through the switch case, it will execute from that switch case, and it will be exited. So for that we have just passed that message exiting switch block, and the paragraph set the variable to different values and then try for general message. Okay, so that was the simple example. Then loops. So loops we have seen in this example. Okay, so for loop we have seen while loop, do while. So all these things are like same as we have seen in C sharp also. Okay, C sharp and Java as well. So like variable counter we have defined, and for that for loop we generally define with initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. Okay, so initialization of counter is done 0, then less than is the condition, and increment or decrement. Okay, so all these things are same as your for loop. Then while loop also same, just you need to include that while statement, while keyword, and write down the statement. Okay, so this also we have undergone through things. Then functions, if you want to include the functions in your code, then the code structure will be the splitting code into parts, and data comes in processed and result is written. So we can see the parameters come here, and like the variables function we have defined here. So function average is given. Okay, so function name is average, and I have passed parameters a, b, c. So these parameters are passed in function, that is shown in this diagram. And second, in the code block we have declared variables. Okay, and it is optional, means declaring variable is optional, and type is never declared. Then the value is written with this curly brace. So this is about functions. So in functions also we have seen the arguments and return value. So the function has access to all the arguments that are passed via arguments array. Like we can see the we have used here function sum, and in for loop we have passed that arguments dot length. Okay, so all the arguments will be passed here, and we can see we have called it with the sum function, sum plus equals to parsing arguments of y, return sum, and alert sum 1 to 4. Okay, so this is about function arguments and returning the value 1. Then the JavaScript function syntax also we have seen that how to define it, like the function name and the parameters are passed. Okay, so how many parameters you want to pass, that can be given with the function name and the block followed by a parenthesis, and the code will be written in the curly braces after that and up to the ending of that function block. So that example also we have seen how the function is called and the value is returned, plus how that function returns the product of a and b example we have seen. Okay, so all these things were about the JavaScript. Next is the data object model and data object model plus its labels, then how that data object model objects and their properties are working, methods are used in it. Okay, so all these things came with the data object model. So what data object model is? So it is when a web page is loaded, the browser creates a document object model of page. So whenever a web page is loaded, okay, it might be on any browser, the document object model, that is DOM, is created. So what this document object model actually is, if any document contains it is constructed as the tree of objects. Okay, that benefits of that document object model, we can see that with this model we can get all the powers that it needs to be created in dynamic HTML, and the JavaScript can change all the HTML elements required in that page as well. Plus the document object model, what it will be like, your HTML script is having head section, body section, your that previous HTML part, right? So all these things are sorted with this document object model. And what it will do, it will specify all the things that are indexed or that are used in your object model. Like if you are taking simple your hello world example, or simple in a document object model, it will just create a hierarchical tree like levels and all the things in it. Actually the entire HTML document is represented by the document object. The HTML document becomes a document object when it is loaded in the browser, and the root elements represent the HTML document. Okay, so the document object has properties and methods, and the document object helps to add content dynamically in the web page. So any element of HTML page can be accessed by using the document object. So before starting the benefits that JavaScript can do with the document object model, we will focus on DOM only. So the according to W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium, the platform DOM is a platform and like a language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, plus the structure and the style of document. So that document object model is the method by which content of document is accessed and modified in a web document, and the organization of objects is implemented in the hierarchical structure. So we can say that as benefits of document object model to JavaScript, with the object model, the JavaScript gets all the power that it needs to create a dynamic HTML. Okay, and it can change all HTML elements in page. It can change all HTML attributes, all CSS styles. It can remove existing HTML elements plus attributes. It can add new HTML elements and attributes. Then the JavaScript can react to existing HTML events in the page, and it can create new HTML events in the page. So all these things can be done with this data object model. Okay, and it is very much beneficial to JavaScript. Then, so this thing I have already told you that according to the W3C, the document object model is a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, structure and style of document. So this W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium. The standard is separated into three different parts like core DOM, XML DOM and HTML DOM. So core DOM, that is standard model for all the document types. XML DOM is for XML documents, and HTML is for standard model for HTML documents. So it is just a way to represent a web page in structured hierarchical way, so that it will become easier for programmers and users to glide through documents. So we have already seen that document object model, and we can, with the help of that, we can easily access and manipulate tags, IDs, classes, attributes or elements using commands or methods that are provided by the document object. So how the structure of the document object model is that it can be thought of as a tree or forest, that is more than one tree. Okay, the term structure model is sometimes used to describe tree-like representation of document. Okay, so one most important property of document object model is structural isomorphism. That means if any two document object model implementations are used to create a representation of same document, please listen this thing carefully. If the two or document object implementations are used to create a representation of same document, they will create the same structure model with precisely the same objects and relationships. So this becomes the example for structural isomorphism. That is, if any two DOM implementations are used to create a representation, so definitely they will create the same structure model with precisely the same objects and relationships, because we are using the same document and two DOMs. So you can see in the diagram, as I was telling you, like how that properties of document object model are getting created. So here is window object, then document, then document is holding that link, form and anchor tag, and that form is having the other things that are included in form like text area, checkbox, radio, select, reset, button, options. So whenever a web page is loaded, this type of document object model is created. Okay. So this window object, it resides at the top of hierarchy always, and it is the topmost element of any object hierarchy. Then the document object we can see here. Okay, after window it is document. All the HTML documents which get loaded into browser are considered as document objects, and the content of page are stored in the document object. Then the third thing, form object, everything which is contained in the opening form and closing form tags that sets the form object. So we can see here are so many things like text area, checkbox, radio, select, then reset, button, and that select means control element like options. Okay, so all these things are in contained in form element or form object. Okay, and that form control elements like the objects has the form object has all the elements which are defined for the objects like text fields, buttons, checkboxes. Okay, that I have already told you. So all these things are the properties of your document object model. So again, this is just a proper write up about the things I have told you. Okay, how that window object is holding the element, or what it is doing actually, what the document object means, link object, form object, anchor object. Okay, so how they are used, or what property they are holding about. This is about the document object model. Oh.